Good day, and welcome back to another one of these game videos for BattleTech. This one has been a nightmare to make. Something's going on with either the program or my computer, I'm not sure which. Despite cleaning up a lot of unused files to free up space and letting it run when it's not doing anything else. This one was a nightmare to render. It took me 4 tries. The last try, I let it go, started it rendering when I left to take my kids back to their mother's, which is a county hour or so drive away. So, hour drive out, hour drive back, and it still took about 4 or 5 hours at least after I got back before it was done rendering, despite the fact that the video is less than 40 minutes long. So, going forward, I might start running into problems with these. I might have to start doing something different or find a different program to use, which is probably going to cost me money, so might be a bit of a delay before the next one. But anyway, this one is much shorter, as I said, only at 40 minutes long, all told, with all of the the pre-briefing and post-mission and all that. The last one, in case you haven't seen it, or just happened to find this one, I had left off at the Archeru mission where you raid a Star League cache and find out that you're now at war with the Taurian Concordat as well as the directory that you're up against. So this one starts right off with you're watching a propaganda newsreel for all intents and purposes that kind of catches you up to what's going on and what the Taurians are doing to support the directory. Then launches into a little confab you have with your allies and your supporters to try and figure out where to go going forward, and then into the mission and the post-mission briefing. It explains what's going on and why you end up doing what you're doing in it, so I will just go ahead and let that play. I will not just, spoil it and then watch it happening. So I'm going to more or less just let the video play on the start of this one without talking over the newsreel and stuff, and then get into the mission briefing. So, here we go.
And I promise you that our forces are maintaining a firm upper hand against this false restoration, thanks in part to the support of our newfound allies in the Taurian Concordat. Just today, those allies, led by the heroic Commodore Samuel Austin, liberated my own daughter, Victoria, from insurgent captivity. And though the fight was hard, our new friends won the day through the strength of their courage and the virtue of their purpose. Soon, we will end this war. And when we do, we will turn our attention back to the expansion of our industry and the betterment of our people. Long live the Taurian Concordat, and long live the Oregon Directorate!
So yeah, after the battle you fought to capture Victoria Espinosa, she has now just that quickly been released. As they mention, however, they killed some of your allies to do it, so that throws one heck of a monkey wrench into the proceedings here going forward. It also bugs me in the voiceover that they always say it is Concordat, not Concordat, because it sounds like conquered it, and it just bugs me. But then again, it seems like everybody that comes into BattleTech pronounces things slightly different. Like some people say Lyran, some people say Liran, some say Magistry, some say Magistracy. Everybody seems to say it a little bit different. That's what happens when 99% of the reference material that you're going off of things is written and not spoken or video. Everybody pronounces it a little differently in their head and reads it differently. What they're mentioning here with Protector Calderon, he is the leader of the Taurian Concordat, and he is even more paranoid than his state tends to have a reputation as being. the Concordat, however you want to pronounce it, is very, very isolationist. They don't like anybody coming near or getting involved in what they're up to. They see everybody as a potential enemy. They're not expansionist and aggressive. They're very much leave me alone, stay the hell out of my business type of attitude. Uh, Calderon, this particular one, uh, as I've said before, most of the houses and states of the inner sphere are feudal and led by royal houses. He develops a reputation as being extremely paranoid, and I believe later on in the timeline he is overthrown by a coup uh, by his own family because he's just seen as so paranoid and xenophobic, I guess would be the word, that they're worried he's going to draw them into a war that they don't need to be in. But at this point, he is still in command. He's not trusting of other people, and as they point out, uh, he is now allied with a very nasty person. It probably will not be too hard to come up with something to justify him breaking the alliance. This is the first of two big glitches in this one. The second one is even worse at the end of this mission. I had such a problem with rendering this that I did not even try to get rid of these glitches once it finally rendered. I'm just dealing with what's there. So basically what's going on here is on Smithon, I think it is, where we are, you are coming in to support an effort to withdraw civilians that are being targeted by the Taurians.
Good luck, Commander.
Um,
The Taurians aren't going to make the
from
siege
here
easy,
on out, for
but
quite
keep
a
their
while, you're
wits.
doing
Tell
pinprick
Spencer how
missions to
people are
try
safe.
and show that you're still in the fight, that the Concordat is not, winning the war, so to speak, as far as, them coming in did not put an end to the war. Uh, it gets into other things that then, progress the plot further as more than just treading water, holding your ground. But for now, you're basically on damage control. And more or less, what you're doing is trying to show the people that you're still fighting, you're not out of this, and you're going to do what you can to keep the fight going and still trying to win the war. You're just kind of on the back foot right now. Also, she's been ordered by your benefactor and the magistracy of Canopus to stay out of action. So she's kind of stuck sending you, which is great as far as it gives you something to do and also keeps her off comms and out of the action. But yeah, it's basically you're bearing the brunt of the war for a little while here going forward. It does get better, but as far as the war effort goes, but right now you're a really low ebb. So basically, what this is you see the numbers of hostiles you have to destroy. There's 2.5 lances, some pretty heavy stuff. Trying to take this last little spaceport that you hold to keep you from getting civilians off world, and basically you're just trying to fight them off long enough to keep the drop ships safe. This is actually the second time I had to run this mission for the recording. The first time, for some reason, it did not save the video. I recorded it and everything, and then lo and behold, when I went to make the video, I had the pre-mission and the post-mission, but the mission itself didn't save, so I had to backtrack and play it again. This one actually goes a bit worse than the first time I ran it, but it was what it was. I wasn't going to save scum and say, well, that didn't go all that well. So
Yes, Commander.
that Jenner basically runs in to try and get everything on sensors, so if you can take it out, you're safe for a little while as far as your turret support and vehicles and everything goes. But it gets uglier from here on out. You're up against some pretty heavy opposition in this one, including, if you can see it back there, moving up, an assault mech. You also have to deal with flankers and defending some pretty volatile infrastructure here that bites me in the ass, but I almost always lose one of the drop ships doing this one. I think only once or twice, and all the times I've done a playthrough on this, I've managed to save all 3 drop ships. It's a pretty rough mission. For the setup on this, you kind of have to walk a line between having stuff that's mobile to try and get to where you can take out the stuff that's coming in, and having the firepower to take it out quickly, which is why I'm running my heavy lance again. The assault mechs could take out this stuff quicker, but it would also have a much harder time getting up and into range and engaging before it can take out the infrastructure that you need to protect. So I think honestly the best way I've ever run this was having one fast mover to get in and engage and knock evasive off of the enemy, and then 3 missile boats to try and rip them apart. But that's not exactly fun to watch, so I didn't go with that this setup. Did what I could with my usual heavy lance.
You betcha. This should be good.
Also, I've noticed in these videos, if you're watching this, I don't know what is causing that squealing noise in the background. I also do a podcast, and I have been trying to edit the audio to figure out what the heck is causing that, or figure out how I can get rid of it. It is apparently something either with my microphone or my recording software. When there's silence in the background, it tends to do that. I've tried, when I do my podcasts, having some noise running in the background like a fan or something, and it still doesn't get rid of it. It still does it, which I think is because my microphone doesn't really pick up the fan real well. So I've it is what it is. I can't really do anything about that right now. Another reason I have a Patreon going to try and get better equipment. I had to start off with the cheapest stuff I could get here. I'm running all of this off of a laptop with a kind of jury-rigged together audio setup.
Copy that.
Which is one reason, until I get a better computer, you'll probably not see me doing MechWarrior Online or MechWarrior 5 or any of those other ones, because I'm pretty sure my computer couldn't run it. Until they get knocked out, the turrets give you pretty good support in this one, but they're pretty vulnerable where they are, so the enemy pretty quickly determines that they need to take those out. If I remember right, this Thunderbolt is a zombie mech. It takes forever to kill. You see now the stuff is coming in on the flanks. Those red areas, those are the refueling pods for the dropships. Similar to what you hit on the previous mission to blow up that big dropship, the enemy's now trying to do it to you. I had, the first time I ran through this, they actually ran 2 of their light mechs in and took those out, taking out the dropship, but the explosion also took out the 2 light mechs, which made things easier for me. They're not that stupid this time around, unfortunately. As I've said, I almost always lose at least one of these first 2 mechs, but only 2 of them, I'm sorry, are required to successfully complete the mission. This is a kind of a case of cut your losses. You can't protect everything, so protect what you can. I don't do real well with called shots on this one, unfortunately. They're moving fast. They have a lot of evasive. They're hard to hit until you can draw them into a slugfest.
I hear ya. I read you, Commander. Moving out.
Yeah, that Thunderbolt just does not want to die. Which is one reason I like it. They're pretty tough to kill. I also have an issue with this one. For some reason on this mission, the camera doesn't like going to the target and keeps recording weird things, but that's not really anything I can do anything about while I'm narrating this. What the AI is targeting quite often is off screen, so you can't see what it's doing or what it's shooting at. Case in point.
Standing by. On my way.
Here you see I'm kind of running the risk of exposing my back to a lighter mech, which is usually not a real good idea, but I really do need to take this stuff out on the flank, so I have to get stuff into position to shoot it. Like, I just took one of them out, but he's still got a backup over there. But the stuff that's behind me there, I know unless they get one heck of a lucky shot, I shouldn't have to worry too much about it. It can hurt me, but it usually can't kill me in one turn. So it's just a risk you gotta take sometimes.
I take no pleasure in this, Lady Arano, but we're under orders. You can end this by surrendering to Commodore Ostergaard. Until you do, your people will suffer for you.
And also going forward, not in this mission, but in a couple of them going forward, if you played this game when it first came out, in addition to the fact that I'm using mechs that weren't available when the game first came out, these are all available in later DLC. They changed a few of the missions if you played this earlier on, because I had quite a while where I didn't play this. I walked away, not because I didn't want to, but it was kind of a case of let's play something else so that when I go back to this, it's more enjoyable, it's more fresh. Some of the missions from when the game initially came out to now, between having different mechs in them and a change of layout or objective, they've changed a little bit if you played it earlier on. It's a bit of a different experience. One in particular that I won't get ahead of myself and talk about what's coming up in case you haven't played this and aren't familiar with it. But there's one coming up that they drop you in a completely different side of the map, and the opposition has changed, even though the general outline of the mission has not. So the first time I played it, the current version of the mission, after playing it several times, the old one, I was very confused until it dawned on me, oh, this isn't unfamiliar, they just changed it for whatever reason. Because I literally had one of those moments of like, am I having a stroke because I don't remember this? Despite at that point having played through the game like 4 times, but they did change things a little bit.
This is gonna
I
be
don't know if they
good.
decided they didn't like the old way it was running, or if they thought it was too easy, so they changed the setup or whatever else. But definitely made things more interesting. This is also a game where, unlike some others, as you see as I'm going forward, I'm still using my heavy mechs despite having a lance of assault mechs available. It's not always a best bet to just take the heaviest things you can get. You do need speed and everything else in a lot of these missions. So just because you can take something 100 tons with overwhelming firepower, depending on what the mission is, that can actually be counterproductive because you can still lose because you can't complete the mission objectives with the mission or the mechs that you take because they're just not fast enough to do what you need to do. Same thing goes when you get into the flashpoints after the main campaign. Some of them you definitely need speed more than you need firepower. Works on the tabletop too. If you're playing against a faster, more mobile enemy, you can get your ass absolutely handed to you without even losing any of your mechs because you can just get raffle stomped by speed maneuverability over firepower and armor. There you go. The assault mech just took out that one, which takes out that dropship and those turrets. I could not take him out fast enough, and usually it's the light mechs that do it. It kind of caught me by surprise that it was him. But if I remember right, I saved the assault mech until the end of this one because he's so slow he can't really do much beyond this point, so I focus on the fast movers. There's one dropship away and a new one, a new one coming in. So you've only really got that last one you have to defend at this point. So I have 7 mechs left, and they're all going to be going for that one target, but you're also in position to kind of hold them off from it now. For the most part, the AI in these missions isn't suicidal. It will try to take you out before it goes for the target, generally speaking, because it knows that, you know, you can finish it off before it can do what it's got to do. If it doesn't, it take care of you. So the AI and the mission setups in this are actually quite good. You can't just bulldoze your way through everything. You've really got to pay attention to the mission objectives and try to do what you can with what you brought to accomplish the mission.
Engaging target.
Yeah, I'm walking the line of heat right here, but I really need to start taking these guys out, so I gotta do what I can do here.
Losing lots of armor. Waiting for orders.
You can't get target fixation. You've really gotta spread your fire and keep them focused on you and keep them from moving on that last objective. Yeah, the camera's being very weird in this one. I don't understand why, but both times I played this mission, it was doing it. It must be something with this map, the way things are set up. It just is being odd. I also find it funny in this that as ridiculously hot and arid as this map is, there's all these trees, but different planet, I guess, different types of trees than what we're used to. They live or can exist in a different setup. Not that there's not trees in the desert, but considering how bad my heat buildup is in this, it's got to be hot as hell. So these have got to be some pretty rugged trees in this area.
Firing on multiple enemies.
I'm also pretty sure that it is the source files that are causing the glitches in this, because if you see on my channel, I also have War Thunder videos that are, you know, just short, quick fights that I put up. And none of them have these glitching issues. It's only BattleTech that seems to do it. So it's got to be something with the way these files record.
I copy.
That was a lucky shot on him. I didn't expect that to kill him, but I'll take what I can get. Now down to 6 left. One of which is crippled. That Thunderbolt, I think, is disarmed, so... Yeah, there he goes. He's down. So now halfway through the opposition. Now they really start going for that target down there now that the drop ship's in. Also, if you hear a little bit of noise in the background, my furnace has been kicking on.
Warning. Heat critical. Shutting down.
That Jenner's gotta die.
I hear ya. Moving out. Got it. Another
An
hit like
Enforcer
that,
pilot's
you're
taken a
toast.
couple of injuries. I think I've got, what, a Panther, a Jenner, an Enforcer, the Battle Master,
Yes.
and I don't remember what the other one is that I have left here. Oh, Firestarter.
Location confirmed.
risk the heat. Gotta take him out. And I don't.
Receiving you.
Yeah, as you notice, I am ignoring that assault mech, because yeah, he can hurt me, but he's not the objective, and I don't think he can take out what I need to defend, so.
Putting one in the back.
You also might hear a little bit of voice in the background. I have the scanner going out in the other room that I forgot to turn off, as I usually do when I'm recording these, so the mic might be picking it up a little bit. I usually shut it off just to be safe, but I forgot today. I sat down in the middle of running errands and doing stuff around the house to get this done, so there's a couple of things I normally do that I forgot about. Once the recording was going, it was a little late. I didn't feel like having to splice out silences and stuff. Basically, what the AI is doing in this mission is they try to keep your attention with the heavier mechs while the lighter ones come in from the flanks and take out the target. So you really can't ignore them and work your way down through threats. You've got to start with the fast movers as best you can. As I said, this mission doesn't go as well as the previous run of it did, but I didn't get that one recorded for some stupid reason, so. As I said, my computer's been being stupid lately.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Yeah, I'd say that was pretty critical. I just blew his arm and torso off. Also, in these as I go, if you are somebody who's watching these and there's something you want me to explain something in universe or about the equipment or anything else that's going on, let me know in the comments. I will gladly make a video about it if it's something somebody actually wants to see. There's, of course, there's others probably that cover something you're looking for, but if you don't want to look for it or if you want me to do it, let me know. I'll be glad to.
Commander.
As I've mentioned in some of the other descriptions of some of these, if you want to know more about the universe, I would definitely recommend either the Black Pants Legion podcasts or videos on these, or Sven Vanderplank does some excellent, excellent lore videos. And I am working on that podcast about the pre-Star League history of this universe. I've got about half the script written up,
What's
so
up, boss?
figure that'll give me something different to talk about on my podcast than what I usually do, because they're almost always either history or sports history or something. So it'll be a little different topic for me to use. A little change of pace for me.
Copy that.
Only reason I'm shooting at him right now is because the LRMs have a minimum range, and the other mechs are within effective range, so they wouldn't be doing a lot of damage. They'd hit them, but they wouldn't do a ton of damage. Think of it kind of like with aerial combat. You can fire a missile at a closer target, but it's not going to do as well as at its optimum range when you can engage it. So. Okay. Objectives have been completed. Now I just got to finish up these last 3 mechs. Which means, unfortunately, they can focus on you, but there's only 3 of them left, so there's only so much they can do to me. 2 mediums and an assault mech against a lance of heavy mechs and artillery turrets and support. There's only so much they can do right now. This is one of the things that bugs me in this is when they can't do what they set out to do and they're outnumbered and outgunned. This is when you would see the enemy trying to withdraw, but the AI doesn't do that.
Good to go.
This is when you would cut your losses and get the hell out of there, but for whatever reason the AI isn't set up that way.
All weapons are go.
Especially in this time period with mechs and the equipment being so relatively rare and hard to produce and maintain, you wouldn't throw away mechs like this on a lost cause. But then again, they're working for Ostergaard, who's batshit freaking crazy, so maybe they figure it's better to die in action than face him when they get back. I don't know.
Inflicted some heavy damage.
Ready for orders. Got it. Critical hit, Commander.
I'm also wondering now, having this full video to put the audio and everything with, how bad it's going to be trying to render this to get it out, but whatever. It is what it is.
Damage minimal.
All weapons committed.
Yeah, that Battlemaster takes one hell of a beating.
Waiting
It's
on
a
you,
tough
Commander.
mech to kill, unless you get a lucky shot in on it.
On my way.
Its firepower, however, is underwhelming.
Yeah, critical hit.
I think Behemoth finishes him off here, but I could be remembering wrong.
Engaging.
Yep, there we go. Okay, that's the end of the mission. Now we're going to be going into the post-mission briefing with one hell of a glitch in between there and here. Thankfully, it's not flashing lights and stuff like one of the ones on the other video was, so
Mission successful.
not as bad as it could be. As I've said, it doesn't seem to really like going from briefings to missions and back. It seems to glitch really bad going in and out of the mission. Even though it's 2 different video files, and I don't run into any of this playing the game, it's either the recordings themselves or the rendering. I'm not sure which. Sometimes they're in the recordings and I do what I can to get past them. Sometimes they pop up in the rendering and I'm just stuck with what I've got. This was not in before I rendered it. I double checked there were no glitches before the rendering other than the ones in the mission file there. But it did this rendering. As I've said, OpenShot Video Editor really, really sucks. As soon as I have some money, I'm going to try and get a different video editing software to use. I'm pretty happy with my audio recording. I think my issue with that is my hardware, not my software. Just when you think it's over. There we go. And I'm going to end this one at the end of the video. There's not going to be the little follow-up stuff after this, because it pretty much says everything that needs to be said. So there you go. You're in a different phase of the war now. You're basically her scalpel while she tries to figure out where the hell to go from here, along with what allies that she and you have left to accomplish what you need to do. It's going to be a couple more of these quick strike missions before the main plot really gets going again and the war moves forward. Which is not unrealistic for the setting. I'm not criticizing that at all. It's just as far as this goes, it's a question of do I skip over this stuff, which I didn't really want to do because there is lore stuff and things like that in here that I wanted to make sure we got. But this and the next, I think, 2 or 3 videos are going to be a little bit more treading water than advancing the war. So it is what it is, as I've said. But just like in a real war, it's not all linear forward, moving forward and winning. You have ups and downs and things you have to deal with. And she mentions that you might have one of your allies or potential allies who has made it known that she has some intelligence that might prove useful. That's what gets the plot moving forward again, but it takes a little while before you can act on it. So, a little bit of a teaser as to what's coming up. Yeah, I'm happy to put him on my kill list. I don't like this guy. A bit of a spoiler going forward. You do get to take him out and kill him in a very satisfying way toward the end of the campaign here. So there you go. We're all done. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.